Okay, let's dive right in. If you're a developer, you know there's a huge difference between code that just works and code that's actually good. Today, we're going to break down clean code, which is honestly one of those fundamental skills that really separates the pros from the amateurs.
You know the feeling. We have all been there. You open up a project file, heck, maybe it's one you wrote yourself 6 months ago, and you're just hit with this wall of code that makes zero sense. It's like trying to decipher an ancient text. That exact frustration is what we are here to talk about today. Just take a look at this. Seriously, what is X? What is Z supposed to be? I mean, yeah, this function might technically run, but it is an absolute nightmare to try and debug or update down the line. This right here is the poster child for unclean code, and it's the kind of mess we're going to learn how to fix. So to get us there, we've got a pretty clear game plan. We're going to start with what clean code even is, then jump into some super practical tips on writing for other people, organizing your projects, using some modern tools, and then wrapping it all up with the right mindset. You know, having a good structure is the first step to clarity, and that's true for this explainer and for your code.
Okay, so let's start with the absolute foundation. What are we even talking about when we say clean code? Because it is so much more than just code that runs without throwing an error.
I really love this definition. It just nails it, right? It's not just about being functional, it's about being elegant. I want you to think of it like a really well-designed chair. It's not just a thing you can sit on, it's also comfortable, it's intuitive, maybe it's even beautiful to look at. That's the kind of standard we're shooting for with our code.
All right, let's get into our first set of practical tips. This whole section is really about one thing: empathy. Because you got to remember, the very first person who's going to have to read your code is probably going to be you in the future. And trust me, you want to be kind to that person.
Now, this might sound a little silly, but it is probably the most powerful principle we're going to talk about. Writing some super clever, complex code might make you feel smart for a second, but it's completely useless if nobody else, or even you 3 weeks from now, can figure out what it does. Simplicity and clarity will always win.
And this right here shows you exactly what I mean. In that before column, what are X, Y, and Z? Who knows? But now look at the after. It is instantly clear. Price, tax rate, sales tax. These descriptive names are like built-in documentation. They make the code's purpose totally obvious without needing any extra explanation.
Okay, here's another trap we all fall into: letting our functions do way too much. A function should really do one thing, and do that one thing well. So if you've got a single function that's trying to handle discounts and calculate the final price, it just gets messy and hard to reuse. The solution? Just break it down. Create smaller, focused functions. It makes your code way more modular, easier to test, and a whole lot easier to understand.
Now let's talk comments. You know, the best code pretty much documents itself, but sometimes a comment is absolutely necessary. The trick is to explain the why, not the what. That before comment is totally useless. Of course it's calculating the total. The code literally says that. But the after comment, that's golden. It explains why we're adding 10. It's for shipping. That's the kind of context that saves another developer hours of confusion.
And that leads us perfectly to the dry principle. Don't repeat yourself. If you find yourself copying and pasting the same chunk of code in a bunch of different places, stop. That is a massive red flag. Instead, pull that logic out into a single, reusable function. It not only makes your code simpler, but it's also so much safer. When you need to update that logic, you only have to change it in one spot, which seriously cuts down on the risk of bugs.
Okay, so we've covered how to write the code itself. Now let's kind of zoom out and look at the environment where that code lives, because a clean project structure is just as important as a clean function. This right here is one of the easiest wins you can possibly get. Use automatic formatters and linters. I'm telling you, these tools will enforce consistent style across your entire project. It's like having a little robot that follows you around and tidies up your code, making it instantly look more professional and way easier to read. It's a no-brainer.
And that same idea applies to your files and folders too. The before structure on the left, it's basically a junk drawer, just a random pile of files. It's a total pain to find anything. But the after structure organizes everything by its purpose. You've got pages, components, utilities. So now, if you need to fix a bug on the products page, you know exactly where to go.
All right, let's shift gears and talk about a powerful new ally we all have in our quest for clean code: artificial intelligence.
You can literally use AI as a sort of pair programmer now. You can drop code snippets into a large language model, an LLM, like ChatGPT, and just ask it for a review. You can even integrate tools right into your coding workflow for automated feedback. They can suggest better ways to do things, spot potential errors, and really speed things up. But, and this is a big but, there's a crucial catch.
Remember this, AI is a tool. It is not a replacement for your own brain. You have to ask yourself if its suggestion actually makes sense in your context. You still need to understand why it's suggesting a change. Just blindly accepting everything is a recipe for disaster and can introduce some really sneaky new bugs. At the end of the day, you're the one in charge.
And that brings us to our final and honestly most important section. All of these tips and tools are fantastic, but they only really work if you adopt the right mindset. This is what it all boils down to. Clean code is not some checklist you have to follow. It's a professional habit that you build over time. It's a commitment to being clear. It's a sign of respect for your teammates and, yes, for your future self. It's all about taking pride in your work and leaving the code base just a little bit better than you found it.
So, I'm going to leave you with this question. Forget about trying to rewrite your entire project overnight. That's not the point. Just think, what is one small thing you can do today? Maybe it's just giving one variable a better name. Maybe it's breaking up one complicated function. Start there. That's how you build the habit.